Hi everyone. A lot of people make good enough money in life, but they never end up having that money. You get what I mean? People keep making money, but they never grow. They never get rid of that work life. They every week or every month the same story. Why does that happen? Think about it. Have you ever met a truly wealthy family or a person that built everything after they won a lottery or a KBC show? I haven't. No one becomes rich just by earning money or making money. People who get rich, they know how to keep that money. There's a lot of content on the internet about how to get wealthy, how to get rich, how to become millionaire, maybe in 7 days, in 1 month, in 1 year. But there's not enough content about how to keep the money that you make that actually makes you wealthy. So in this video, I'm going to talk about money habits that keep middle class people in middle class throughout their life, irrespective of what they have studied, where they work, how much money they make. And I will share with you 5 tips that almost all the people who get wealthy in life follow. And these tips will help you keep the money that you make, your hard earned money. Since this is my first video, I'd really appreciate if you can subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up if you really like this video or it has given you some value. There are many real stories around us about people such as sports people, athletes, singers, movie stars, businessmen that once had a lot of money but then they ended up in bankruptcy. Some of them even dying in bankruptcy, leaving a large debt for their family members. Why does that happen? How did they get there? So the point is very simple. Money has rules and you need to follow them. The good news is that anybody and everybody can learn these rules and practice them. That is why most lottery and game show winners or KBC winner end up losing all that money and going back to where they started because they never knew how to keep that money at the first place. Let's say you do a very physically or mentally demanding job around 40 to 60 hours per week and you make 20,000. Now you are out on weekend to enjoy life because you think that you deserve it or because a lot of people also say that I worked very hard for it, so I deserve to enjoy this thing. Or maybe you have heard in some movie, work hard, party hard. I hear it a lot of time from my friends and family members and cousins that I work very hard, so I deserve to enjoy this money. And then they end up spending that money, at least the most of that money, that they have worked very hard for over the whole week. And then guess what? Monday they're back to office, ready to work another 60 hours and then waiting for the another weekend. So this is the chain you need to break to gain financial independence. What you have to keep in mind that if you will spend all the money that you will make, you will have to start over again on every Monday or every month. Let me give you a very good example of a construction worker who works on daily wage basis. Let's say on an average they make 500 per day. All that money goes into taking care of their basic financial needs, rent, their food, if they have kids, the medicines, things like this. Whatever little money they save or they manage to save is spent on the day that they don't get work because they are very dependent on weather and other things to get a daily work. What you have to keep in mind here is that they're not spending money on buying fancy things or dining out, buying some latest gadgets. It's just they are a bit unlucky with their situations in life and they don't have an option to switch to a better job or a better career. Now, if you're watching this video, I would assume that you have at least gone to a good school or a good college, depending on whatever stage of life you are in. Now, if you are into the same chain or process where you spend all the money that you make, you should ask yourself, what is the advantage of your education? What advantages you are taking of your situation that this poor, unfortunate daily wage workers cannot get. Growing up, you might have heard this advice from your parents, from your elders, that save first and then spend, which is a very good advice. But I just think that it's not clear enough how much you should save. Let's say you're earning 20,000 now and you're finding it hard to pay your rent of 5,000, 6,000. Trust me, if you will earn 60,000, 65,000, you will still find it hard to pay your rent of 20,000 or 22,000 because you're not disciplined in life. It's not the earning problem, it's the expenditure problem, and you need to fix that. So, this means that you don't know how to keep money and you need to learn it. Now, I'm going to give you 5 tips that almost all self made rich people follow in life. And trust me, you start following it and you will see a considerable difference in your bank account within the 3 months, the first 3 months. So let's talk about it. The first is never outspend yourself. What does it mean? Let's say you make 15,000 a month, you just divide it by 30 days, you get a daily figure of 500. Now, subconsciously, you should always keep in mind that my daily expenses are less than 50% of it, in a good scenario. So, for example, if you spend 500 every day, then basically you are even out, you are not making any money. So you keep your daily budget in mind and then try to reduce it as much as possible, probably less than 50%. Keep a monthly expense tracker. Right now, we have a lot of apps, in mobile and laptop where you can keep track of your earnings. I think some of them also take directly from your credit card or debit card. But you need to have something to keep track of. And you know what is the good thing about here is that you can keep the expenses category wise. So at the end of the month, you have some data to look at, on what categories, what money you have spent, and then you can correct yourself. You can analyze, oh, maybe I spent too much on entertainment, I spent too much on traveling. The second way. Then the third tip is keep a 90-day track. This is very important that most of the people miss. What I mean here is that let's say you make 15,000, you multiply it by 3 months. So that's 45,000. You make 45,000 in 3 months. Now, every 3 months, you should fix a date where you backtrack your expenses. So let's say you started in January. So end of March, you should look at your financial statement, the bank statement for the January, February and March. And you should make sure that in this 3 months, you have not outspent yourself. Because sometimes it can happen that when you are following this, it can happen that you need to book some expensive tickets because you need to travel somewhere urgently, or you need to buy a gift for somebody because their birthday, anniversary, and things like that. So, what you need to do here is that some cases you might bridge this, but then you have to keep in mind that now you have to compensate that. What this 3 month time period does is that it lets you track back and see, oh yeah, I spent maybe like 45,000 in 3 months, which means you went out again yourself. So there is no point working that hard and then having zero with you. So now you have to keep a margin that, okay, from here I have to save 50%, So this kind of balances out some extra cost that comes suddenly unplanned. The fourth one is make a fixed budget. What I mean by this is make a fixed budget for everything that you consume or buy on your daily basis or weekly basis. So for example, this is irrespective of your income. So if you make 15,000 or 100,000, it doesn't matter. But for the sake of comparison, let's take that you make 15,000 and you make a fixed budget for, let's say, 1,500 for shoes. Now, what it does, it prevents you from overspending for anything. Whatever the scenario is, whichever shoes it is, whichever brand it is, you make a rule that I will not spend more than 1,500 for a pair of shoe. Same you can do for everything, like my monthly food expense should not go above, for example, 5,000. My travel expense should not go above 2,000. You need to be, if you can control yourself here, this is one of the greatest way to keep your money with you. So, whatever category, I don't know, you spend money with, even if you go to club or party, just make a budget. Like, no, not whatever I do, but within that budget. And then you see how effectively it helps you to also do an easy shopping. If I know my budget, like only 1,500, I go to shops, I just check things which are beyond it. I go to online shopping, I only put a filter, I see what is there and I only buy it. I don't even check other things. The fifth one and the very, very important one is don't keep your expenses or lifestyle proportional to your income. What I mean here is that if you will increase your expenditure or lifestyle in proportion to your income, you will never have money. You will never grow in life. So just look at this chart here. This is your income. This is your expenses over time. So this black line, let's say, is your income. So you are steadily growing, promotion, experience, skills or whatever. But let's say this is your earning graph and you're significantly increasing your earning over time. Now, the lower you keep your expenses on this graph, the more leverage you have of your savings. So if you keep spending on the same line, then of course you are broke, you have no money. What you have to do, you have to try to keep the expenses as lower as possible. As a thumb rule, you can follow a 1:3 ratio. So there is always a 1:3 ratio in your income and your expenditure. So for example, if your earning is 90,000, then your expenditure is only 30,000. As I said, as a thumb rule, always keep this in mind. And then you will see how quickly you will increase this leverage, this leverage, the difference between your lifestyle and income. Yes, just this, simply understand this matrix. Let's say now you're making 100,000 and you're spending 50-60,000 per month. So from next month, your income is going up by, let's say, 30,000. Then what you should control here is that your new expense don't go above 10,000. This is very, very important. So if your income goes by 30,000, make sure your new expense or your add-on expense only goes up by 10,000. And this is what that ratio does. And you see in 3 months where you will be, like how good you will feel. And you can, of course, let us know in the comment. And this is what really gives you wealth. Where most of the people make mistake? As they start making more money, they suddenly increase their lifestyle. They start buying fancy things, renting premium houses, buying fancy cars, showing off people. And then this is what creates problem. Now imagine, if you can control this on a long-term basis, what kind of leverage you can build. This, you will realize it once you will build some savings in the account, and then you will see what a great feeling it is to have some money, what confidence it gives you, what decision making power it gives you in many ways. Now, if you manage to keep the growth rate of your lifestyle or your expenditure below the growth rate of your income, you will not need to do that same job all your life. So you need to practice. You need to practice. With practice, you will get better at it. Just try it now. Do it for first 3 months. Make a routine, make a chart, make everything, and see how quickly it makes you better in your finances. I have friends who make more money than me on a monthly basis, but they have more debt than me, and they are always at the end of the month asking other people or taking loan from bank or credit card to cover their expenses. So the fun fact is, work hard and party hard doesn't work in real life. It makes you broke. If you will spend all the money that you will earn, you will never have money with you. So please, people, don't spend your hard-earned money on things, on fancy things that your relatives or friends or society expect you to own. You don't have to buy the most latest gadget, most fancy car and things. Keep your money. That's the most important thing about earning money. So next time when someone say work hard, party hard, you know which direction they are headed for in life or which journey they are taking. Do you want to join them on their journey? Think wisely. So thank you very much for watching this video till the end. I would really love to get your likes, comment, feedback, suggestions, opinion, whatever you like to share with me. And in the next video, we'll dive a bit deeper into how to calculate this 1500, how you should know what you can really put on as a budget for certain things, what you should buy. So subscribe to this channel so you can get the updates as soon as we upload the video. Thank you very much.